On episode 657 of the 40 Plus Fitness Podcast, we discuss finding discipline with your health and fitness. You can find the full show notes for this episode at 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/657. Have you decided you're ready to make a change? To reclaim your health and fitness, the 40 Plus Fitness Podcast is here for you. Each week, we dive deep into health and fitness topics that affect those of us over 40. I'm Coach Allen. I'm an NASM certified personal trainer with specializations in corrective exercise, behavior change, performance enhancement, and fitness nutrition. A Precision Nutrition Level 1 coach, a FAI certified functional age-link specialist, and an OTA Level 2 online trainer. Each week, I'm joined by our co-host, Coach Rachel. She is an NASM certified personal trainer and a RRCA Level 1 run coach. Let us be your coaches as you find your way on your health and fitness journey. All right, let's go. Are you ready to take charge of your health and well-being? Announcing the Your Best Self Workshop, which runs from September 2nd through September 6th. Yes, 5 live sessions focused on designing a life of health and vitality for anyone over 40. Learn powerful mindset and motivation strategies to enhance your fitness journey. This workshop is designed to help you overcome challenges, set and achieve your goals, and sustain a healthy lifestyle. Experience the support and encouragement of a like-minded community and expert guidance every step of the way. Join us and transform your life with 40 Plus Fitness. Go to 40plusfitness.com/best. Register and start living your best life today. 40plusfitness.com/best. Hey, Raz, how are things?
Good, Alan. How are you today?
I am excellent. Thank you.
Good. That's good to hear.
Tammy's back. So
yay. That's good.
So that's been good. And then, yes, I'm in the throes right now of launching my workshop that starts in just a few days on the 2nd. It's a 5-day workshop and it's for mindset and stuff. So some of the things we're talking about here, if this is an area where you struggle, that's what we're going to do for those 5 sessions across 5 days. They are recorded. As a bonus, I'll make those recordings available to the folks for a period of time. And there is a community because I got a review. The last one I think I did it on a Saturday and I did it. It was like 4 hours. The review I got was a 3-star. It's the only 3-star review I've ever gotten. And she said it was too long. And because she said it was too long. It should have probably been broken up into at least 2 sessions. And then she said, because none of the participants knew each other, no one was talking, even though I was trying to solicit their involvement through the chat and through talking, no one would speak up. And she thinks that's because there wasn't a place for them to kind of get to know each other beforehand. So this has both of those, but obviously, you join now, they're already in there having their party. So you're going to want to go check it out, but it's at 40plusfitness.com/best. I'm calling it Your Best Self Workshop. Basically everything you need to build a rock solid mindset and motivation to get you wherever you want to go in your health and fitness.
That's awesome. That sounds like fun.
All right. So what have you been up to?
Good. I ran this morning, Alan. I ran 7 miles and I am tired. I need a nap.
Yeah.
But it was a good run. And I have run club actually tonight. So I'm taking my break, getting my fueling in and some hydration, and I'll be ready to go again later tonight.
Yeah. It's still kind of warm up there.
It is a little toasty, but it's okay. I'm enjoying every minute of the summer.
Good. Good. All right. Are you ready to talk about discipline?
Sure.
Today, I want to talk about a word used quite a bit on health and fitness forums and Facebook groups and things like that. And the word is discipline. So today, I want to help you find discipline if that's what we're really looking for. I'll describe the way this conversation typically goes. So we'll be on Facebook. There's a group. Someone's really struggling. Okay. They can't stick to the way of eating. They can't do the workouts. Just, a myriad of different reasons, excuses, if you will, for why they cannot do what they want to do. And I think most of us can relate to that at some level. Then somebody will step in and say, you just have to have discipline. You just have to get disciplined. And they don't. I decided, okay, one, I don't think that's the right word. I decided I was just going to go ahead and look it up. Okay. And in the Oxford Dictionary, it defines discipline as the practice of training people to obey rules or a code of behavior using punishment to correct disobedience. I don't want that. Is that what you want? And I guess what really bothers me when they throw out that statement, you just have to be disciplined. You have to find discipline or be disciplined. When they put that out there, it's not really helping the individual, because the individual who's asking the question wants to be obedient. They want to be able to follow these rules. They want to obey the code of behavior. And so they want these things, but they're not quite there. And so just telling them to do it is like when I say, I don't know how, I can't fly. And they're like, well, just fly, just do it. And you know, again, if I don't know how to do it, I can't do it. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that, because if you feel like you don't have discipline or that you don't have what you need to be successful, we got to figure that out. So the first thing is, do you really feel like you need punishment to comply? And I think for most of us, the answer is no. But the unfortunate thing is, we have that voice in our head that does punish us over and over and over again. So we are punished when we feel guilt and remorse and shame and all those different things for not complying with a certain way of eating or a certain diet or a certain exercise program, or just showing up and it is not working. So if you're struggling to eat right, to move right, to do some of these things, I don't think you need discipline. I don't think you need punishment. I think you need a plan. And today I'm going to talk through the steps that you should take to go ahead and get a good plan going for yourself, one that will help you get this done. Okay. One that will get you to a point where you basically are disciplined, if you will. You are obedient. You are obeying these codes of behavior. You've got a plan. You need a plan to get there. So your plan should start with accountability. Most of us skip this point. We just start doing the thing and then we stop doing the thing because it's hard. We start doing the thing and then after a while we don't see results, so we quit doing the thing. So what you need is you need some accountability. And so who are you bringing on your team? Because this is the team sport. Getting healthy and fit is not an individual sport. Who are you bringing on your team to hold you accountable? Should you hire a coach, a personal trainer, or a nutritionist that you'll report back to? Do you have friends and family that will call you out when you're not following through? That you know, if you've told them you want to do this and then you don't, they're going to feel disappointed in you. Do you have those people? Now, me personally, I look for as much accountability as I can get when I'm going into something like this. And so as you start thinking about your journey, who is there to hold you accountable? Now, maybe you're saying to yourself, I can't afford to hire a coach. And the truth is, that's just a self-limiting belief. You probably can. But what you haven't done is you haven't committed to change. Because when you're committed, you do what's necessary. You make things happen. So let me tell you a little story about what I went through when I was struggling. So I wanted to change. I really did. And I tried and I tried and I tried and I failed and I failed and I failed. And I found myself 8 years down the line in worse shape than I was when I started. I was heavier. I was less healthy. I was less fit and I was miserable. And then I was on a call with my daughter and she said to me, Daddy, will you come watch me do a CrossFit competition? And that hit me in the gut because I had never really thought of myself as a spectator in her life. I always wanted to be a participant. I wanted to be able to do things with her, not watch her. And so I sat down and I had this, and I tell people I do this all the time, and I do. I have this meeting with myself, okay? And I was asking myself, why is this so hard? Why is losing weight? Why is getting fit? Why is being healthy so hard? And I've done hard things before. I've done some very hard things before. And that's when it hit me. I had committed to those other things. I had not yet committed to this. So when I was committed to doing something, I put in the hours, I spent the money. So the CPA exam that I took, okay, back then it was a 4-part exam. The pass rate on that was astronomically hard. It was harder than the medical board. It was harder than law bar exam. It was the most difficult professional exam I think you could take. There were 4 parts. You took over 2.5 days. If you didn't get a minimum score on some of them, you couldn't keep any of them. And you have to come back and take all 4 again. And so I was committed to pass the exam on the first try. And so what did that look like? Well, that looked like every waking moment that I was not working full time, which I had a full time job. I wasn't working or I wasn't in school. I was studying. And even when I was in school, I was taking subjects that were going to be on the exam. So I literally studied every waking moment for 3 solid months. I bought cassette tapes that I could play in my car and under my bed when I was asleep. I bought some software. At that point in time, it was the most expensive thing I had bought. It was the software that I got to study was more expensive than the computer, and computers were not cheap back then. So I'd financed a computer so I could be at home studying, and I bought this software package. And I could basically take the practice exams over and over and over again. I bought all these Gleim books, all these books that they had questions, they had discussion, and I would go through those books every day. That's commitment. That's investment, investing time, effort, and money. So when I finally did realize that's what I needed for my health and fitness, I made that commitment. And because of my work conditions that made it difficult, I couldn't really hire a trainer and meet with a trainer all the time. And there were no online trainers. I spent tens of thousands of dollars to become a personal trainer, to learn what I needed to know to fix myself. I don't recommend you to go that route. It's easier today. I paid for a session with a nutritionist because I wanted to get myself started. I didn't want to wait until I was getting into the nutrition part of my education. So I paid for a nutritionist to sit down and come up with a plan for me. Okay, I got a DEXA scan. And with that DEXA scan, I had the ugly fat jelly picture of myself where I could see that half of my body was fat. Nearly half of my body weight was fat. And I could see it on that picture. And then I signed up for a Tough Mudder with my daughter. And that's a hard race. I didn't want to let her down. I wanted to do the race with her. I wanted to be that person. I wanted to be a participant, doing something I knew my daughter would enjoy that would challenge her and definitely challenge me. So all of these things that I did there were commitment. And so once I had commitment and some accountability, because signing up for a Tough Mudder and my daughter knowing November, we're going to go do a Tough Mudder, I have to show up. I have to do the work. I did. Okay. So what I want you to do now to start this whole process by building a team that will hold you accountable. And you're going to have to invest in yourself. Nobody's ever gotten there free. They just haven't. You have to invest in either some education and accountability. You have to invest time, effort, and money. That's what it's going to take. If you invest in yourself, you're never going to regret it. I never have. So make an investment, get the accountability and support you need, and then you're ready for the next step. Now, the next step in the plan is also very important. And this is where you have to put into your headspace that you are the CEO of your body. You're making all of the decisions for your body. You decide your movement, you decide your nutrition, you decide your thoughts, you decide your stress levels that you're going to accept, you decide your sleep. You decide all of that. Okay. So, as the CEO, if you really want to make sure this happens, then as a CEO, you've got to put the things in place that will help you get there. Losing weight and getting stronger is not hard. We as the CEO have not made it easy yet. Okay. So, what are some ways that we can make it easier on ourselves? Okay. And as we're talking about being the CEO, we're talking about self-management. So the first thing that you're going to do is that you're going to start setting goals for yourself. You're not going to go at this half baked. You're not going to say, okay, I'm going to lift weights a little and I'm going to move a little. I'm going to go to the gym a few times. I'm going to eat better. You're not measuring that. That's not a goal. You're not going to do it. Set goals that you can measure and get done, and then just knock them out one right after the other as you progress. The next thing you want to look at is ways that you can use friction to make this easier. And what I mean by friction is, okay, if I know I have a weakness for cookies, I do not want them sitting on the counter when I get home from work, or I'm going to be eating some cookies. Okay. I had a client and she had a habit. So each day she'd come in from work and she would go by and pick up the mail out of the mailbox, and she'd go into the kitchen. She'd plop the mail on the countertop there, open up the cabinet, and start snacking while she opened up the mail. And she realized that this snacking was really making it difficult for her to be successful at weight loss. So what did she do? Well, first off, she didn't go in the kitchen to open the mail. She went into the living room, sat at the coffee table, sat on the couch with the coffee table, and that's where she'd open the meal. So the snacks weren't in her face. That's friction. Not having the stuff in your house is friction. But you also want to reduce friction for things that you want to do. So having a gym that's 20 miles away isn't really a good idea, because there's going to be days you just don't feel like making that drive. But having one in your house, or having one that's really, really close to your house that maybe you can even walk to, that you're going to drive by on your way to work every morning, that's reducing friction. Coming up with workouts you can do at home, reducing friction. And then the next thing is learning from mistakes. Okay. As a CEO, your business is going to make mistakes, or things are just going to happen. Okay. Your body, you're going to do things that you don't mean to do. And what you want to do as a CEO is to analyze that and figure out why it happened and see what you can do to prevent it. So I've told this story before, and if you've heard it, apologize, but I'm going to say it again. When I was first getting into this, I committed and I was like, okay, so I'm going to work out from 2 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon at the gym closest to my house and closest to my work. I lived about an hour away from the gym. So to reduce friction at gyms, I had a gym membership in Louisiana where I lived, and I had a gym membership in Arkansas where I worked. And then eventually I built my own home gym because I wanted to. I had 3 gyms, basically, access to 3 different gyms. So I realized, because I would get to work, I would go to get changed for the gym, and sometimes there'd just be something missing from the bag. It might be the t-shirt, it might be the shorts, it might be socks. One day it was a shoe. I had one shoe in the bag and the other shoe was not in the bag. And I don't know how that happened, but I realized that I was probably subconsciously sabotaging my own self. So that mistake was costing me workouts that I didn't want to miss, but invariably I must have, because I kept not packing my bag properly. So I printed out and laminated a piece of paper that had a list of everything that needed to be in that bag. Everything. And I would sit there each night and I'd go down each item that was supposed to be on that was on that list, and make sure it went into the bag. I would pack up the bag, put that list in there, close the bag, and then I would take it over and set it by the door that I was going to use in the morning to go walk out to the carport. And I would have to step over it to go outside. So it was there. I was going to grab it, and I was going to have it. That reduced the number of times I didn't work out, which meant I was more consistent, which means I got better results. So learning from your mistakes is a big part of this journey. Don't let them break you down. Don't let them make you fail. Just learn from them and move on. Forgive yourself, learn from them, and move on. Okay. And then the final bit that you're going to want to do as a CEO is you're going to want to understand who you are, because some of us are wired certain ways and some of us are wired other ways. I'm an all or nothing guy. Okay. If I'm on, I'm way on. If I'm off, I'm way off. There's no moderation in practically anything I do, almost none. And so I can't go in with the plan that I'm going to moderate my sugar intake, or I'm going to moderate my alcohol intake, or I'm going to moderate my exercise. Once I start getting into those things, I'm all in. So good or bad, it is what it is. And I need to understand that about myself so that I'm setting up a plan that works with that. I also need to understand my mindset. Okay. And I have a quiz at 40plusfitness.com/quiz that'll help you find your health and fitness mindset. Most of the time, these mindsets are blocking us, where these mindsets are stepping in the way and they're keeping us from being successful. But once you know what that mindset is, you can go ahead and do some work on yourself and flip that mindset. So, what I know about myself is that right now I'm what I call an atlas. So, an atlas is someone who needs direction. I need to know where I'm going. I need to have something big or something I'm going toward in front of me. If I don't, I begin to meander. I don't feel like I'm accomplishing anything, and I don't really feel motivated to do anything. So by me knowing that I need to have some things in front of me, I like to challenge myself with different stuff. And that's, you heard the Tough Mudder. That was that part of my mindset coming out was I want something big and scary in front of me. So I'll do the work because I have a lot of work to do. And I did. You might have a different mindset and need to do something slightly different. So if you'll go take that quiz, 40plusfitness.com/quiz, takes about 60 seconds. It's absolutely free. You'll get a free report custom for you and your mindset type. And it's going to give you some guidance on how you can use your mindset as a superpower. And once you tackle that first mindset, you may need to look at some others. I did. And then as you work through those, now you have a plan. And so as you go through this and you realize, okay, I am committed, I have accountability, I am the CEO, and I'm making this easier and easier as I go, and I'm correcting my mistakes, then what you're going to start to notice is that this becomes a part of you. The things that you're doing are a part of your habits and values. The thought of not doing them doesn't make sense to you. And you begin to identify as a healthy and fit person. And as the weight comes off, this is who you are. Okay. And when these guys on the social media say you need, discipline, they already identify as someone who does the work. So they don't look back and think, well, I needed accountability. I needed, to commit, and I need it, because those things probably happened so early in their life, they don't even remember that happening. They probably don't remember a high school coach telling them they need to lift weights if they want to make the football team. They probably don't remember going out with the team and not wanting to be the slowest, weakest guy or girl. They probably don't remember a lot of that stuff, but all that stuff happened at one point in their life. And then they began to identify as someone who is healthy and fit and eats good food, does the movement, does the things. That's who they are. Now, you're going to do that too. As you get through this, you're going to feel like this is just a part of you, and it'll be hard for you to understand someone else struggling with it. But I want you to. So don't be ass like they are. If you see someone complaining on Facebook that they just aren't getting anywhere, realize they just don't have commitment and they don't have a plan. So I hope this was helpful. Just kind of summarize this again. As you look at this health and fitness journey, it's not supposed to be hard. Okay, it's not. We make it hard. We make it hard because maybe we're just not committed enough. We're not doing the stuff. When we make it hard because we don't build a team for accountability. And we make it hard because we don't step up and take ownership of ourselves and self-manage as the CEO of ourselves. And then we don't do these things consistently enough that they become our values and habits, and we begin to identify as the person we're supposed to be. So if you'll take the time to do this, make the commitment, do the stuff, you will get results. Welcome back, Raz.
Hey, Alan, this was a really great discussion. I mean, discipline is definitely not a super fun word. And the Nike adage, just do it, it's not that easy. It just takes time to develop. And I love starting with accountability. I really think that having people in your life that can support you, or having, run, like I talk about run clubs all the time, having something on the schedule and having people expecting you to be there is really a great place to start.
Yes, if you can count on them. So a lot of times I think what people do is they start out great. They've got, they tell someone, I want you to help me do this. And the person's like, absolutely. Or, as a relative or something, you're going to walk after work. And then something happens, they break their foot, their hours change, something happens, and they're not showing up, and that support's not there. And then you quit doing the thing. And so if you're going to look at accountability, you have to realize that accountability is a limited resource. It will run out. It will end at some point. You can get into better and better accountability. Obviously, a group is going to be better than an individual, because the individual could go away. If you're going to hire a coach, how long are you going to hire them, and what are you going to use them for, and everything there. So there are ways to get accountability quickly, and there are ways to make sure that you have a more robust accountability. And so you should be working on that, but don't stop there. You need to start working on yourself, and that's self-management, and then getting habits and values, because we have all these ruts in our mind that of what we used to do and how we used to do things. And so if you tell your spouse, it's like, I'm going to eat this certain way, and they're like, well, I don't really want to eat that way, and you're like, that's okay. And then they come home with a very large pizza that's your favorite kind of pizza, and you're like, well, pizza isn't on the plan. I have my food already in the refrigerator ready to warm up and go, and they're eating pizza, and now you're eating pizza. And so, you got to realize that some of the accountability and things that you have are actually, we're pulling you in the other direction. And if you don't set up good structure, and you don't get into okay, I am the boss of myself, and setting your own rules and putting strategies in place, so that, because again, if you came home and had to cook and that pizza's sitting there, you are definitely eating the pizza, because you're not going to take the time to cook a meal. But if you had your stuff pre-prepped, it's a little easier to do. But all this has to be built out, and it has to be built out to work for you. And that's why it's such a struggle when someone will be on there and they're really upset, and they can't understand why they keep failing. And then some dude just pipes up and says, you just got to have discipline. And I'm like,
if only it was that easy, right?
It doesn't work like that. Discipline is something that you've earned through doing all these things. Even if you did it when you were a teenager, you don't remember it. But, as a 14-year-old walks into a gym and falls in love with the gym and the people there, he had accountability. He had all the guys at the gym that were his friends. And then he got the values and the habits of going to the gym all the time. Had he started hanging out with the wrong kids that were out drinking and smoking, he would have dropped the gym in a minute. And then that would have been his peer group, and that would have been his path. And then he would be in his 40s saying, hey, I can't change. I can't figure this out. And someone else would be telling him, well, get some discipline. So that was just what upset me, is I know where folks are coming from when they're struggling. And, social media can be a harsh thing. So if someone is out there and you're struggling and you've said something, and then like, just get some discipline. Just don't listen to them. That they're not there to help you. They think they've got everything figured out. And, I'm happy they're healthy, but it's not going to help you to think that you're missing something, or that something's wrong with you, because you lack the willpower and the discipline today to do what you need to do.
Well, it's just not one thing. There is no one magic bullet or one thing that is going to turn the page on anybody's health and fitness journey. I mean, it takes all these different things, and it takes a ton of practice, discipline, accountability, being the CEO of your own body. I mean, these are things that just do not happen overnight. And we're all after it. We all want to get to the end quicker. But as soon as you can just get out the calendar and start putting some things down on paper or a journal or something, like all of these different things will lead you on the right path towards the right outcome. But it's definitely not an overnight thing.
Yeah. And I think that's the struggle, is they see successful people and think they got successful by doing what they just told you to do. And that's not how it works.
Everybody is so unique. We all have our strengths, and we all have our weaknesses, and we just we all take different paths on how to achieve the same outcome. And that's just being healthier and fitter.
Yeah. I'm glad that they're on these forums asking questions, because they're trying to get help. They're trying to surround themselves with people. So they're at least in the right ballpark for what they need.
Mhm.
I just wish there weren't so many people out there, poo-pooing what they're trying to do,
Right.
like they're broken. You should just be able to do this. And
Mhm.
too many times, yeah, people will sit there and say, well, okay, I know I need to do this, I know I need to do that, and I know, and they start doing things, but they're not
Mhm.
doing the things that matter, like setting
Mhm.
this foundation first, and
Mhm.
then implementing the things that will get them where they want to go. But
Right.
they just think, well, I know I got a diet, so I'm just gonna, start eating salads every day. And not that that's a terrible thing, but you'll get 3 weeks into it and you'll be so sick of salad
Oh
that
my gosh,
you'll
yeah.
stop. And then so you stop eating the salad, or someone goes out and says, well, we're doing a lunch order over at the Italian place, do you want
Mhm.
something? You're sitting there looking at your pathetic little salad, like, I want something. And so again, it's just too hard to do if you don't set these foundational things in place. And
Mhm.
that's why most people really, really struggle with this, is they think there's something wrong with them when it's not. That's how we're
Right.
wired and what we're going to do until we take the time to really establish this structure. And then when we have the
Mhm.
structure, it makes it easier and easier. And the longer we do it, the more it becomes a habit and a value. And
Mhm.
then, yes, now you're standing there thinking you've got the discipline to do what you need to do. You can say no to
Mhm.
dessert with no problem,
Mhm.
say no to pizza with no problem, and do your thing. If you have these things in place, that gets easier and easier.
It does. And that's just the point. It gets easier over time. And one of the things you had mentioned towards the end of your discussion was learning from your mistakes. I mean, come on, we all make mistakes. If we know that that's our weakness, if pizza's our weakness or ice cream's our weakness, we can add that friction and kind of remove the way that it gets so easy to access ice cream. If cookies are your thing, don't buy the cookies. But it's not that
Yeah.
easy. It just takes time to figure that out.
Yeah, well, they had these donuts, and I'd get off the elevator, and you could smell them. They just hit you.
Hmm.
It's like, oh gosh! And then all the people are at the break room chumming like sharks, and I'm like, okay, they've got spud nuts here. I go straight to my office and I
Hmm.
grab a bag of nuts, and then I go into the break room to pour my coffee, and I sit there
Hmm.
nibbling the nuts because what I know is that's going to provide friction. It's going to
Hmm.
keep me away from those wonderful, wonderful donuts. But
Right.
at the same time, I also then had a rule. Okay. And the rule was if there were spud nuts in the break room, they wouldn't eat them all.
Hmm.
So the rule for the rest of the day was I had to use, if I needed to use the bathroom or I wanted to refresh on my coffee, I couldn't do it on this floor. I had to go to a
Oh.
different floor. And so
Mm.
that meant I was walking down the stairs. I would stay away from our break room because to go to the bathroom, I'd have to walk by the break room. To get
Hmm.
coffee, I'd have to go in the break room. So what I found was it's just better for me to walk in the opposite direction, go down the
Yeah,
stairwell and go on the next floor. I end up putting in more steps those days.
absolutely.
And I get a lot more done because I'm taking my coffee break and my pee break at the same time.
Hmm.
Uh, so, but I get a lot more steps in was the thing. And again, friction, just putting friction in there, which was
Yeah.
a learning thing that didn't just happen. That was a practice.
Yeah, I love that. It just takes a minute to think of these different unique ways to avoid some of the things that are weaknesses to us. I love it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll talk to you next week.
Great. Take care, Alan.
You too. If you enjoyed today's show, take a moment to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And if you would, please leave us a rating and review on your podcast player of choice. Next time on the 40 Plus Fitness podcast, we meet Philip Pate and discuss all things hormones. Until then, have a happy and healthy week.